Good afternoon, folks. Robert Chappell here, Executive Editor of Madison365. And if you cannot hear me, please comment. And if you can hear me, also comment. Because I seem to be having some audio difficulty. I think I can hear it now. So those don't even, I don't even need those. Those aren't even doing anything for me. But I think that the audio is working. Is it not? Yeah, the microphone's working. Good to go. Thank you, Jess. Appreciate it. Okay. So here's the situation. The COVID situation is, as was yesterday, a mixed bag of good news and bad news. Let's start with the not so good news that we're back up to 15,486 new confirmed cases today, which is a very high number. It was 12,000 yesterday, so that's higher. Our 7-day average now 18,836, which is higher, but also elevated because of that one day, that one big data day where they caught up on all the old data with 35,000 new cases in a day. So the 7-day average is artificially high, but 15,000, almost 15,500 new cases in a day is also very legitimately high, right? There's no easy way around that. So that's been on a downward trend. Right. So we hope that trend continues. For today, it's higher, but overall, the trend might end up going down. We are still at 27% positive tests, which is very high. That's about where we've been for the past couple of days. So again, that also is downward trend, generally speaking. We peaked at about 29.5% back on the 7th of January. So in the past almost 2 weeks now, it's gone from 29.5 down to 27. Still really, really high, you guys. That's absurdly high, but a downward trend. Now, to the other piece of bad news, the death average per day is now 32, which is, we've sort of broken that threshold to be the leading cause of death in Wisconsin. Now, COVID is not going to be the leading cause of death for the entire year of 2022 or 2021 for that matter. But on a day-to-day basis, the leading cause of death is heart disease. That's 31 deaths per day, but it's 31 deaths per day all year round, right? So if COVID is above 31 deaths per day, then for that period of time, it's the leading cause of death, just for that period of time. Does that make sense? So that number is not super significant, but it's just kind of a measuring stick in my mind. And today we're at 32. There were 38 new deaths confirmed today, 65 yesterday, which is what's pushing the average up also. So we'll wait and see. I'd expect that to continue to rise through the end of the month, at least. Probably a week or so into February, the deaths will continue to go up because those deaths are happening now and won't be reported in the data until the end of February or the beginning to middle of February, right? It takes about a month for a fatality to make its way into the data. Okay. So that's high. It's 32. It's the highest it's been this year. It's the highest it's been since early 2021. It'll continue to go higher, just a question of how high. Now, the good news, which makes me optimistic that the death average might not go as high as we feared, that despite the surge in cases continuing, hospitalizations are down sharply. We're not at this place now where we're saying oh, good, at least it's, at least we've leveled off. No, we're coming down. It's really, really good news. Genuinely good news. 2,099 people currently hospitalized. That's down 64 in one day. That's down 120. That's more than roughly a 5% decrease in the past week, which is great. Similarly, ICU patients are down to 445. That's down 14 since yesterday. That's down 34 since a week ago. So about an 8% decrease there. So that's good news. The ICU beds available now up to 89 for the entire state, which is still not very many, but more than we've had. Okay, so the hospital situation, while still difficult, they're still stressed and taxed, and staff is stretched thin. But the population of people hospitalized is coming down, and that's pretty unreservedly decent news. Okay, so that's the COVID situation. I got a mixed bag, more cases, which we're going to continue to see. It's Omicron. More deaths, which we're also going to continue to see just based on the current and the surge in cases over the past 3 weeks or so. But hospitalizations are better. Like, those are the kind of the takeaways here today, which means that Omicron is, as predicted, somewhat less, having less of an impact than Delta did in terms of severe disease and hospitalization. Probably because some vaccinated people are getting infected, and probably because it just seems to be less prone to cause serious disease. It still can, it still does, unquestionably, but slightly lower rate is all. Okay, so that is. If you have any questions about the COVID situation, go ahead and drop them in the comments. Otherwise, we're going to move on, and we're going to take a short little pause here. And I'm going to mention our sponsor for this episode, which is the University of Wisconsin Department of Surgery and the School of Medicine and Public Health, conducting the Log to Lose survey research program. Do you want to have more energy or feel stronger? I certainly do. The University of Wisconsin is enrolling individuals for an 18-month research program focused on helping people build habits for a healthier lifestyle. Everyone participating will receive a well-researched weight management program led by registered dietitians, and this is free to you. This is a free 18-month weight loss program run by registered dietitians. Go to log2lose.com for more information. I'm going to drop that link in the chat, in the comments here, so you can take a look and see if that might be good for you. We appreciate the School of Medicine's support of the program here today. Now, we're going to talk a little bit of local news here. We talk a lot about CEOs of Tomorrow, which is a fantastic program. My son has done it. It has done the elementary, middle school version of it. But they're actually now, so they've got these teenagers, right, who start businesses and launch them, and some of them actually go and become real businesses. And in any case, they all learn a lot about entrepreneurship, about social responsibility, about financial management. So they now have a retail location downtown Madison at Culture Collectives, which is the pop-up shop at 444 State Street in Madison. And they're going to be open Saturday. They're going to have their grand opening for a few hours, and then they're going to be open for a few hours on Sunday, and then they're going to be open Saturdays and Sundays now for a while. But they're selling the kits for the younger kids to do the businesses, right? So they CEOs of Tomorrow, you can go online, you can order a kit to make lotions, to make candles, to make candies, and then you make a business out of those things. That's the whole activity when you're a little kid, when you're like 4th, 5th, 6th grade. And so the older kids that are in the CEOs of Tomorrow program are going to be selling the kits to help the younger kids start their business ideas, right? So it's kind of a cool synergy thing. And that's going to start again this weekend downtown Madison. The story on that, Angelica Usuri has that story for us at Madison365.org. Also today we learned American Family Insurance, which I have to disclose is a founding funder of Madison365, always been supportive of us. But they have now invested $2.5 million in the Center for Black Excellence in Culture. We were there on the Madison South Side when Pastor Alex G. announced their first $5 million toward their $37 million goal to build that center right there next to Fountain of Life Baptist Church. And now the American Family has come in with another $2.5 million. So they're well on their way to that goal. They're really hoping to get that ground broken probably next spring, and they're going to have this thing up built in 2023. So that's another big boost. That $2.5 million is definitely a big boost. And finally today in sports news, another signing for Forward Madison, Matheus Cassini. who is a Brazilian attacking midfielder. Played for Corinthians in Brazil, and then got transferred to Palermo in the top flight in Italy. Didn't quite work out there, and he's been bouncing around the lower levels of Europe for a while, and he is currently playing, or he was until today, playing in the top flight in Bulgaria, which has a pretty decent football culture. So he's been playing. He has 1 goal in 11 appearances for Protev Ratsa in Bulgaria. And wanted to come play in the United States. So it's a rare move where he's in mid-season with Bostev and is leaving and coming over to the United States to play for Ford Madison. It's not a transfer exactly. It's not a loan, but it's a brand new deal where he's going to come over here and play attacking midfield. He's got a deadly left foot, I'm told. The highlight video looks pretty good. It's pretty exciting. So take a look at that. That is, again, at the front page of Madison365.org. That's what I have for you today. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and we'll keep an eye on things, and hopefully we'll have even better news tomorrow on the hospitalization front and maybe some slowdown on the cases tomorrow. Fingers crossed, right? Have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
This is 365 Media.